Whoa, look at that. This is amazing. I think these are definitely ready to be planted, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with so many aglaonemas. Hi guys, my name is Sean. I'm a houseplant enthusiast from Jakarta, Indonesia. In this episode, we're going to be sharing with you the care and also rescuing of this Aglaonema rotundum. This is actually native to Sumatra here in Indonesia, and it's a beautiful aglaonema with like really dark green leaves and this electrifying beautiful pink stripes on them. This is actually a mother plant for many of the hybrids out there because it has these beautiful simple classic features with this electrifying stripe that usually passes down to the offspring of the hybrid. This is actually an easy plant to care for, and actually mine was beautiful. It's lush, it was completely round. It's got beautiful healthy foliage, and then I moved. So when I was moving here, it was covered in dust for like a few months, and then it just declined, and now it's looking like this. I had one of my girls help rescue it before, just let her check the roots and let them put it back in a potting medium. So she's done that, and I don't think this is a good look forward because this is already very leggy. As you can see here, it's not very sexy look. Some vines are actually flopping over. So we do see some shoots emerging from down here. So this is actually recovering for the last 3 months or so, but we're gonna help along with the recovery process by doing something radical to it. So really quickly about the care for this plant. Aglaonemas love to be in medium to bright indirect light. Never give them low light. However, for this one plant, I would give them maybe in between of medium to medium low, if you know what I mean. This is because when you give them lower light, they will produce this beautiful dark foliage that are going to be packed with chlorophyll because they're going to need that to extract the little light that it's getting. So if you give this bright indirect light, it's going to have lighter colored leaf, which we don't want. So medium light will give it beautiful dark foliage, and the electrifying pink stripes will be way more pronounced on these guys if you give them medium light. But if you give them too low of a light, they're gonna become leggy, the leaves are gonna be small, and they're not gonna grow very well for you. So it's a balance for this particular aglaonema here, but it is pretty fast growing and it's quite easy in my book. Water them when it's bone dry. Aglaonemas hate water. So when you have them grown in lower or medium light, you don't want to water them too much either because this will set them back. Aglaonema's roots, if you look at them, which we will soon, are fat and chubby. They're actually water storage facilities. This means that you don't want to keep watering them and drowning them, and those roots will turn to mush very quickly. They're very similar to anthurium roots. And by the way, aglaonemas are aroid, so they're in the same family as your anthuriums. Now in terms of fertilizing, same with other houseplants, you do need to fertilize them lightly now and then. I don't want to go crazy with fertilizing these because they're not particularly hungry or greedy plants. They don't really need that much. And did you hear that? Something flopped out. There was such an unelegant sound. But yeah, we're gonna need to save this later anyways. Pest pressures. This has actually gotten mealybugs, but it's only gotten mealybugs when I have moved here. So it was under so much stress, under so much dust, and it was like declining so badly, mealybugs started attacking it. But before, when I had it in my rental home and in my dad's home, it was given good conditions, good care. I did not really even have to pest control it, I didn't have to treat it for anything. It was doing so well. So I would say that these are not pest prone plants, but if they're stressed out, you may get pest on them, or if they're around other plants with pest on them, they may transfer onto this plant. And the key to growing aglaonemas, because when we buy them, we tend to buy like a single vine of them. If you give it time, they'll become this amazing, beautiful bush over time. And this is what my aim is in this video. I hope to show you in a few months' time that this will become, maybe not just one, it may become many pots of this beautiful foliage. Yeah, because I can see from here, this is a very old plant. It's got many nodes here, and it's got a lot of potential to become many plants. So that's my goal for now. So stay tuned for the propagation, rescue, and the updates. All right, let's take a quick look at these. So these are all very scraggly. This is actually a sign of sunburnt. I may have actually moved it in a spot where it's too bright during the move as well, because all of these plants, look at how dirty this is. I actually already cleaned the leaves, but they're dirty again. So yeah, look at how crazy. Yeah, these are just falling off. So we're gonna study them closely, but look at all these vines that are coming out from below. This is what aglaonemas do. When you buy one single stem, they will start producing babies off the side. These babies actually come from these nodes. You see that on the stem? They eventually become this. Usually they come from down below. So usually for aglaonemas, you may want to upsize the pot, or if possible, give them a narrow but tall pot, because this is how they do. Now for the top cutting, I don't know if I'm going to do it today. I'll figure it out. But one of the things that you can do is, if you can see here, this is putting out from this vine. This is already activated a node. This is going to put out a new shoot. What I could do is I could just cut it here and then stick the top cutting in water and root it and then stick it back down in this pot. And then when this is gone, all these are gonna be coming out with vigor, because now the plant is trying to produce new leaves up top. So yeah, that's one way they can encourage faster growth with aglaonemas. That you can actually prune them, encourage growth from below, but you need to water them a lot less in that situation, because they really cannot be watered the same way as before. All right, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really excited about this project. I've been meaning to do this, but yeah, let me take out these vines. As you can see here, this is already putting out roots. How cute is that? But it's only got one single leaf. This is an apical dominance, apical bud. That's where it's growing from. So it's gonna continue to put out leaf after leaf up here. But then as you can see, this is very leggy. We don't want this. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna cut all of that off. Look at that, okay. And then I'm gonna stick this in water. Aglaonemas do really well in water. For propagation and for rescue, they do extremely well. Now I'm gonna show you what I do with this. Actually, for aglaonemas, if you watch my other videos, every single one of these, this is one node. This will produce one plant. This is another node. So actually this can turn into many plants just from this alone. And over here I've prepared some general purpose potting medium. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take these. For example, I'm gonna cut right here. That's the growing eye. I don't know if you can see that little knot there. I'm gonna plant this facing down, facing up on the potting media. So the eye is facing to the sky, and you just wanna leave it there, lay it there. Don't push it in too much. You don't have to. And I'm gonna continue on with the rest of these. I'm gonna keep finding the growing eye. Like for example, this one is an obvious one. This right here, that's a growing eye. Lay it facing up, the eye to the sky. This one is a bit confusing. It's put out roots here. This one's confusing. It's put out roots here. I think that is the growing eye over there between the roots. Cut it. I'm very greedy. And then for this, because it's already got roots, I'm gonna tuck it a bit deep so the roots are in contact with the surface. And I don't wanna bore you with this whole thing, so I'm just gonna do one more. If it looks like this, like we're not sure what this is very confusing. What we can do is just stick it in the soil. So standing up, because this was this side up, just stick it back the way that you found it. And this, for example, this is a top cutting, tippy top cutting. I'm gonna cut this off randomly above this growing eye. There's a growing eye over here. Cut it above that, because this growing eye is still viable. I'm gonna stick that in water over there. And then just cut single node, growing eye, eye to the sky. And then the way that I would care for this is I would just water it lightly, mist it, or use one of those squeeze bottle and squeeze some water on it daily. Never let it get soggy wet. This can rot rather easily, but never let it dry out completely. You can let it dry completely for like a day. It would not hate you for it, but more than a day I would not recommend. Or if you want to be smart about it, you can also put this in a propagation box where it's like 100% humidity in there. But in that situation, you don't want to keep the media too moist or wet. It will rot these easily. So if you put it in a prop box, you just want that ambient humidity to kind of provide this with the moisture that it needs. I don't like propagation boxes. They give me anxiety. So I might actually stick one of these in a propagation box just for good measure, just to see how different it is. It may be this one. I'm not going to water it in that case, because the propagation box is already very, very humid. It's got a lot of plants in it already. So when you see a cutting like this, it's already got a leaf that is on the way. I would just take off that leaf because it's only going to drain energy from the plant. And then this can actually be turned into 2 cuttings. I'm going to cut this here. This leaf, it's still hanging on. It's still hanging on. The base is already rotten. As you can see here, this is root rot, or stem rot rather. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these in water. I'm actually move all of these cuttings into this one jar here. So it looks nice. Look at that. It looks so much better now. I may actually let this recover because this is still putting out all these babies from down below. So let me figure that out. So this is what we have. We have one of these already in a propagation box. I've put it in there. And then this one is living in general purpose potting mix. This is how I water it every day. Literally just this much water will do. Just keep it slightly hydrated. This one is living in moss. So let's see how they do in moss. That's it. Don't want to give them too much water. Seriously, don't overwater it. And then one that's living in water propagation, and the parent plant. So let's see you guys in a few months. This is a 7 weeks update, and we're looking at the parent plant. As you can see, everybody's doing well. They've put out nice, beautiful, glossy leaves. These are all pretty new. And let's look below to see what the stems look like. You see a lot of young shoots start to emerge. This is really cool, and that's putting out something underneath as well. So a lot of new life. This, I don't know where this new vine came from, but a lot of young new shoots are happening. This might be a cutting that we just stuck right into soil, and if I try to pull it out now, you see the pot is off the table. This is not coming off. This is going to tell us that this is well rooted into the medium. This I'm pulling as well. Yeah, everything is rooted firmly in there. When you give them proper care, they really, really do thrive. This is pretty easy to care for. How beautiful is this? So this is the one that's grown in moss, and as you can see, this one has put out a shoot. And then a few others have sprouted as well. I'm not going to disturb it too much. This one in the middle of the screen is still sleeping, but this one, it's put out a shoot that is sideways in the middle of the screen. Maybe it's a bit difficult to see, but I see at least 2 that has sprouted so far. I don't know if we will get more if I give it more time. But this one looks dried off. There's one that is already rotten off, so this is no good. This is the one that we put in soil, and this may be easier to see. As you can see, that one there in the middle of the screen that has sprouted something. That one is on the way to put out a new shoot. Some of them has dried off, but some of them are on the way. This one seems to be rotted off, so I'm gonna discard that one after this. So I may get 2 to 3 plants out of them. Finally, we've got these that were grown in water, and they are getting really, really good light by the window. So yeah, let me take this to the table to study it better. Whoa, look at that. This is amazing. I think these are definitely ready to be planted, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with so many aglaonemas. Let me see. This one, this is a good study actually. This one is put out a new vine here because the top is compromised. As you can see in the middle of the screen, that's where we made the cut at the top. So it put out a new vine from the lower node below, and this is the one leaf that's hanging on to this dear life, but this is gonna do okay. As you can see, aglaonemas, they have really, really thick roots, so they really don't like to be drowned in water. They actually can do a bit of water storage natural. This one's put out a shoot really way down below. How cute is that? But you know what, for these guys, I'm actually going to water propagate them a little bit longer because one is easier to maintain than putting them in soil. Also, I think I want to wait until secondary roots appear, because normally when plants put out the first roots like these are the roots used to anchor the plant, not really to bring in water and nutrients, although it can to some degree bring in nutrients and water to the plant, but we're going to be waiting for the secondary roots. Welcome to a 3 weeks update. Let's check it out. Whoa, look at that. Okay, I still don't see any secondary roots, but let's study some of this. I think this is all ready to be potted up. This is putting out a new vine already. So I'm going to start potting everybody up. Let me see, this one's trying to put out a new vine as well. 2 vines. So do you see that? That's vine number 1. And then number 2 is over here. Cute. This is very cute. This is really making my day. This one's also putting out 2 new vines. It is a little bit behind, but if you see down the center of the screen on the left hand side and on the right hand side, they're each 1 vine. Now I'm confused about whether to pot these up together in a clump or separately. I might just do a whole clump of them. And I'm going to be potting this up in a forest floor potting mix. That seems to do really well with the aglaonemas. Here is the parent plant. Now, the goal of this video was to try to get like a massive bushy rosette form of this aglaonema. But the thing is, I've been keeping it back here behind where I film, and it's etiolated. Look at that. All the new leaves have put out very long petioles and pretty small leaves, but a lot of new growth is happening down below. So I might actually veer off from our final goal of having a full bushy pot of this, because I'm going to start filming other plant projects, but maybe one of these days I will separate these and restart over to get that beautiful rosette that we see in some aglaonema competitions. Yeah, because this is a bit of a failure. If you see how wonky and leggy everyone is from mistreatment. But as you can see, this is how you can rehabilitate them and propagate them and turn them into many aglaonemas. I think the ones that we started over in the water propagation, that one has a chance of being a beautiful, nice bushy rosette aglaonema, but this one is a little bit too far gone. This might be a very good mother plant material to keep taking cuttings off from. The best way actually to get them to grow a natural rosette is just to have the one grow, and then when you have the one plant that's matured or set flowers, it will start putting out babies from underneath naturally, and this is how they grow in nature. They'll put out these clumps of babies. That's how you can make them look good naturally. But yeah, I think I'm giving up on this one. All right, last but not least, these are the wet stick propagations. I love doing aglaonemas by wet stick. Look at the baby leaf that put out from one of the wet sticks, and that one is putting out a new vine down the center of the screen. So I think I might get 2, maybe 3 plants out of these wet sticks, but this one leaf is very healthy and beautiful, and it's grown under this low light, so it's getting this wonderful pink color on the leaves. Yeah, I really got to start over with this plant because I did abuse it. Now this one here is putting out a lot of like really interesting growth points here, but no shoot yet. So this one might be a better bet because I don't see many rotting here, but they are going to take a bit more time. Here's a final update at 16 weeks. This is the mother plant, and it's been sitting out here in bright indirect light, getting rained on almost daily. It seems to be thriving, it's doing well, but it's getting a bit more light than I would like to because its leaves are lighter green in color and its pink veins are not as pronounced as it should be. But it is a good candidate for mother plant because, as you can see, it's grown really well here. So it's not sexy, it's not pretty, but this will give me many plants for the years to come. And let's check on these that were propagated in water. They're actually grown inside in the greenhouse, but I brought them out to film them. And here I want to show you a comparison because these have not formed its own clump yet. These are many plants living in one pot. But if you let them grow out, this is an example of a clump. And behind this is also another aged aglaonema that has formed a clump. So I need to give this one more time to form its own clump and become a nice rosette bushy pot of aglaonema. Then let's check on these. I can't believe I forgot to update you, but this is the one that was grown inside a prop box this whole time, and it only sprouted one single leaf. But how cute is that baby leaf? I think another node is trying to put out a growth, but it's actually very slow. In my experience, you don't really need to stick aglaonemas into prop boxes. They do well when you propagate them out in open air. And keep in mind, I live in humid tropical Southeast Asia. Last but not least, these are the ones that were grown in open air and have sprouted a little bit more leaves, and the leaves are a little bit bigger but still baby sized. Very cute. I actually really enjoy propagating the aglaonemas with single node this way. Even though we lost a lot of these cuttings, if you take better care of them, if you keep a mindful watch and a water routine, you may end up with more babies than I have.
But this is just how you grow aglaonemas and propagate them. I hope that this video has been useful for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm at botanist on Instagram. Feel free to DM me with any questions regarding plant care and propagations. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Patreon members, for supporting the channel. Should you consider joining as a member, the Patreon link is Sean from Only Plants. It can also be found in this video description. I've started producing bonus contents for members. These include plant hauls, plant shopping, and mini bite-sized adventures. The same bonus contents will also be unlocked for you if you join to become a YouTube member of the channel. There is a monthly membership fee as small as a cup of coffee a month. Simply go to Only Plants channel page and click join. Your contributions help me grow the channel, do better content, and have a better quality of life. For that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart.